He had carried it for years, not in his hands but deep in his chest. A quiet dua, unspoken, unreleased, almost forbidden. It wasn't that he didn't believe Allah could answer it. No, that was exactly what made it so heavy. He knew Allah could, and that was what terrified him the most. Because if this dua was answered, his life would never be the same again. He sat alone that night, the room dim and still, the kind of silence that makes your thoughts louder than they should be. His hands rested on his knees, not raised, not yet. Because once he raised them, there would be no turning back. He had made many du'as before, for ease, for success, for forgiveness, for things that felt safe. Things that didn't require him to lose anything. But this one demanded something from him. Something heavy. Something he wasn't sure he was ready to let go of. He looked down, his jaw tightening slightly, because deep inside he already knew the truth. He had been avoiding this dua. Not because he didn't need it, but because he needed it too much. And answering it would cost him everything he had grown attached to. "Oh Allah," the words almost escaped his lips, but he stopped. His throat tightened, his heart suddenly racing, not from fear of Allah, but from fear of what Allah might take away. Because this dua was simple, painfully simple, but its meaning was not. It was the kind of dua that strips everything away, the kind that forces you to choose between what you want and what is right. And he wasn't sure he was strong enough for that choice. So he stayed silent again, just like he had done for years, pushing it down, convincing himself, not tonight. I'll make it later. I'm not ready yet. But deep down, he knew something. There would never be a perfect moment. There would never be a time when it felt easy. Because this dua was not meant to be easy. It was meant to change him completely. He leaned back slightly, closing his eyes, trying to escape the weight pressing against his chest, but it followed him. It always did. In quiet moments, in late nights, in the space between distractions, it would return, soft but persistent. Say it. His fingers curled slightly, his breathing uneven now, because he knew exactly what that voice was asking. It wasn't just a dua. It was surrender. And surrender meant loss. Loss of control, loss of comfort, loss of something he wasn't ready to name out loud. He opened his eyes again, looking around the empty room as if something there could distract him, but there was nothing. Just him and the truth he kept running from. He exhaled slowly, long and heavy, and for a moment he asked himself a question he had been avoiding: what am I so afraid of? The answer came immediately, clear and sharp. I'm afraid Allah will accept it. His chest tightened, because even thinking that felt wrong, almost disrespectful, but it was honest. Painfully honest. He wasn't afraid of being ignored. He was afraid of being answered. Because if Allah answered this dua, then he would have to change. He would have to walk away. He would have to become someone else, someone better, someone stronger, someone he wasn't sure he could be. And that thought scared him more than anything. So instead, he stayed where he was, in between. Not fully lost, but not fully sincere either. Holding on to things he knew were pulling him away, while asking Allah to guide him closer. And deep down, he knew it didn't work like that. Guidance required sacrifice. Closeness required letting go. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. Time felt strange in moments like this, slow and heavy, almost still. His heart beat louder in his chest, as if reminding him, this matters. This moment matters. He swallowed hard, his lips parting slightly, and this time he didn't stop himself. Oh Allah. His voice was low, unsteady, almost like it didn't belong to him. He paused, because the next words carried everything: years of avoidance, years of fear, years of knowing but not acting. He closed his eyes tightly, as if bracing himself. If this thing in my life is taking me away from you. His voice trembled. Then take it away from me. Silence. Heavy. Still. Final. The words hung in the air, unmovable, unchangeable. And suddenly, his heart dropped, a deep sinking feeling spreading through his chest, because it was done. He had said it. There was no taking it back, no softening it, no adding conditions. He had asked Allah to remove something from his life. Something he still loved. Something he still wanted. Something he wasn't ready to lose. His breathing became uneven, a quiet panic rising inside him. What did I just do? His mind raced. What if it happens? What if Allah actually takes it away? What if I can't handle it? The fear came fast, loud, overwhelming. And for a moment, he regretted it. Not because he didn't mean the dua, but because he finally understood its weight. Because this wasn't like his other duas. This one had consequences. Real ones. He looked up slowly, his eyes searching the silence as if expecting something to happen right away, but nothing did. The room stayed the same. The air stayed still. The night remained quiet. And yet, everything felt different. Because something had shifted. Not outside. But inside him. A line had been crossed. A truth had been spoken. A door had been opened. And now, all that was left was to see what would come through it. The next morning didn't feel the way he expected. Nothing had changed. The same room, the same routine, the same life waiting for him just as it always had. The thing he had asked Allah to take away was still there, unchanged, untouched, as if the dua had not been made at all. And that confused him more than anything. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring down, replaying the words from the night before. If this thing in my life is taking me away from you, then take it away from me. The sentence echoed in his mind, heavier now than it had been when he first said it. Because now it felt real. Now it felt like something had been set into motion, even if he couldn't see it yet. A thought came quietly, but it hit harder than anything else. What if Allah doesn't take it away, but expects you to walk away? His chest tightened immediately. Because that possibility, it hadn't fully settled in his heart before. He had imagined loss as something that would happen to him, something outside of his control, something he could accept without being responsible for it. But this was different. This meant choice. This meant action. This meant that maybe the answer to his dua wasn't something that would be done for him, but something he would have to do himself. He stood up slowly, his movements heavier than usual, as if every step carried a question he didn't want to answer. His eyes drifted toward the one thing he had asked Allah to remove. It was still there. Close. Familiar. Calling him the same way it always had. Nothing had changed. Except him. He reached for his phone, then stopped. His fingers hovered in the air, frozen between habit and intention. Because deep inside, he knew this moment mattered more than it looked. It wasn't just a small decision. It was the beginning of something bigger. Something real. Maybe I don't have to do it now, a thought whispered. Maybe I can wait a little longer. Maybe I'm overthinking this. The excuses came softly, almost kindly, as if they were trying to protect him. And for a moment, they worked. For a moment, it felt easier to delay, to push it aside, to pretend the dua didn't require anything from him. But then another voice came. Not loud. Not harsh. But firm. You already know. His chest tightened again. Because that voice didn't leave room for excuses. It didn't argue. It didn't convince. It simply reminded him of the truth he had been avoiding for so long. He knew. He had always known. That thing in his life, it wasn't neutral. It wasn't harmless. It was pulling him away, slowly, quietly, in ways he had learned to ignore. And now, after making that dua, he could no longer pretend he didn't see it. He sat back down, his hands covering his face, a deep breath leaving his chest. Because this wasn't confusion anymore. It was clarity. And clarity, it doesn't make things easier. It just makes them real. If I don't let go, he whispered to himself, then what was the point of asking? The words landed heavily. Because they exposed something inside him. Making that duet meant something. It wasn't just words. It was a choice. A declaration. A moment where he admitted that he wanted Allah more than the thing he was holding on to. But now, he had to prove it. His heart beat slowly, heavily, each beat echoing in the silence around him. This was the part no one talks about. The part after the duet. The part where nothing changes outside, but everything is expected to change inside. He picked up his phone again. This time, his hand didn't shake as much. Not because it was easy, but because he understood what was at stake. His thumb hovered over the screen for a brief moment, one last pause, one last chance to turn back. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Oh Allah, help me." And then, he acted. No sound. No announcement. No dramatic moment. Just a quiet decision. A simple movement. But one that carried more weight than anything he had done in a long time. And the moment it was done, his heart dropped. A sudden emptiness spread through his chest, sharp and unfamiliar. Because even though he had chosen it, it still felt like loss. He leaned back slowly, staring ahead, his breathing uneven. Because he realized something he hadn't prepared for. Letting go doesn't always feel like relief. Sometimes it feels like grief. He had asked Allah to take it away. But Allah had given him something else first. The strength to let it go himself. And that was harder than he ever imagined. The silence after it felt different. Not the same heavy silence that used to suffocate him. This one felt wide. Open. Almost unfamiliar. He sat there, staring ahead, his hands still, his thoughts slower than before. Because something was missing. Something that had been part of his life for so long was suddenly gone. And even though he had let it go himself, his heart didn't fully understand that yet. It only felt the absence. His chest tightened, a quiet ache spreading through him. Because this wasn't just about removing something wrong. It was about losing something he had grown attached to. Something that had once made him feel good. Something that had filled his time, his thoughts, his emotions. And now there was a space where it used to be. A space that felt too big. Too quiet. Too real. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees, running his hands over his face, trying to steady himself. Because this was the part he hadn't imagined clearly. He thought letting go would feel right, clean, certain. But instead, it felt like grief. Like he had walked away, but a part of him was still standing there, looking back, wanting to return. The thought came softly, but dangerously. Did I do the right thing? His jaw tightened. Because that question didn't just bring doubt. It opened a door. A door back to everything he had just left. Back to comfort. Back to something familiar. Even if it wasn't right. He closed his eyes tightly, his breathing heavier now, and another thought followed immediately. You asked Allah to take it away, and now you want it back. The words hit harder than anything else. Because they were true. He had wanted to be sincere. He had wanted to choose Allah. But he didn't expect it to hurt this much. He didn't expect the emptiness to feel so loud. So present. So tempting. Because now that the distraction was gone, he was left with himself. With his thoughts. With his reality. And there was nothing to hide behind anymore. No escape. No comfort. Just silence. And in that silence, everything became clearer. The things he had been ignoring. The parts of himself he had been avoiding. The distance he had created between himself and Allah. And suddenly, he understood something. That thing he had let go of, it wasn't just pulling him away. It had been covering something. hiding something. And now, with it gone, he could see it. Fully. Honestly. And it was uncomfortable. But it was real. He took a slow, deep breath, trying to steady the storm inside him. Because this moment was fragile. He could go forward, or he could go back. And no one would know. No one would see. It would just be between him and Allah. And that made it even harder. Because there was no pressure from the outside. No expectations. No consequences anyone could see. Only one question remained. Who are you when no one is watching? His heart beat slowly, each beat heavier than the last. Because this was the real test. Not the dua. Not even the decision. But what came after? When the emotions settled. When the pain stayed. When the choice had to be lived, not just made. He opened his eyes slowly, looking ahead, the room still, the world unchanged. But inside him, a quiet battle was taking place. The part of him that missed what he lost, and the part of him that knew why he let it go. Both real. Both strong. Both pulling him in different directions. He stood up slowly and walked toward the window. The same place he had stood so many nights before. But this time, he didn't look outside. He looked inward. And for the first time, he didn't run from what he saw. I'm weak, he whispered, his voice low, honest, with no defense. I didn't realize how attached I was. A pause. A heavy breath. But you knew. His eyes softened slightly. Because that realization changed something inside him. Allah knew. Before the dua. Before the decision. Before he even understood himself. Allah knew. And still. He guided him here. Not to break him. But to free him. And maybe that was why it hurt. Because freedom from something you love doesn't feel like freedom at first. It feels like loss. But only in the beginning. He closed his eyes again, not in fear this time, but in acceptance. The pain was still there. The emptiness was still there. The pull to go back had not disappeared. But he didn't run from it anymore. He acknowledged it. And slowly, something shifted. Because when you stop running from the struggle, it loses some of its power. Oh Allah, his voice came softer now, steadier. I let it go, even though it hurts. A tear slipped down his cheek. I don't know if I'm strong enough. Another pause. But I don't want to go back. That was the truth. Not perfect. Not confident. But real. And maybe, that was enough. Because strength is not in feeling no pain. It is in choosing what is right, even while the pain is still there. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes slowly. And for the first time since he let go, the emptiness didn't feel as overwhelming. It was still there. But softer. Less suffocating. Because now, it wasn't just emptiness. It was space. Space for something new. Something better. Something closer to Allah. And maybe, that space was exactly what his heart needed all along. The days that followed were quieter than he expected. Not peaceful, not completely. But steady. The kind of quiet that doesn't rush to comfort you, but slowly teaches you how to live without what you once depended on. He moved through his routine the same way as before. The same places, the same people, the same world around him. But something inside him had changed. The noise that once filled his mind was gone. And in its place, there was space. At first, that space felt uncomfortable. Too open. Too exposed. Because he had spent so long filling it with something else. Something that distracted him. Something that kept him from facing what was really inside him. And now, there was nothing to hide behind. Just him. And the truth. There were moments when the habit came back. Not because he wanted it, but because it had been part of him for so long. His hand would pause. His chest would tighten. A quiet thought would whisper, just once, it won't matter, no one will know. And for a second, it felt easy. Too easy. To go back. To undo everything. To pretend the duet had never been made. But then something inside him would respond. Calm. Firm. You already chose. And that was enough. Not to remove the temptation, but to stop him from following it. Because he knew something now that he hadn't fully understood before. Going back wouldn't just be a small mistake. It would be a break. A break in something he had just started building. Something fragile. Something real. And he wasn't ready to lose that. Not anymore. He began to notice something else, something he hadn't expected. The more distance he created, the clearer his mind became. The more he stayed away, the lighter his chest felt. It didn't happen all at once. There was no sudden moment of relief. But slowly. Quietly. It was happening. The weight that once sat on his heart was lifting. Not all at once, but piece by piece. And in its place, there was something new. Clarity. He could think without distraction. Reflect without running away. Sit in silence without feeling the need to escape it. And that clarity showed him something he hadn't seen before. The way that thing had controlled his time. The way it had shaped his thoughts. The way it had slowly pulled him away from who he wanted to be. And now, looking at it from a distance, he saw it differently. Not as something he needed, but as something he had outgrown. And that realization changed everything. Because letting go no longer felt like losing something valuable. It started to feel like leaving something behind that was never meant to stay. One evening, as the sky slowly faded into soft shades of gold and darkness, he stood still, watching the world move around him. And for the first time in a long time, his heart was calm. Not empty. Not broken. But steady. And in that stillness, he felt something he hadn't expected. Pride. Not the kind that comes from ego. But the quiet kind. The kind that comes from knowing you chose what was right, even when it was hard. He placed his hand over his chest, feeling his heartbeat. Steady. Strong. Present. And for the first time, he didn't feel like something was missing. He felt like something had been returned to him. Something he didn't even realize he had lost. His connection. His awareness. His sincerity. Oh Allah, his voice was soft, but filled with something deeper now. Thank you for giving me the strength, even when I didn't think I had it. He lowered his gaze slightly, because he knew the truth. This wasn't just his effort. This wasn't just his decision. This was guidance. A path opened for him. A moment he was led to. A choice he was given the strength to make. And that realization humbled him. Deeply. Because without Allah, he would still be stuck. Still attached. Still unaware. And now, he wasn't. Not completely free. Not completely perfect. But moving. Moving in the right direction. And that was enough. The night still came. The silence still returned. But now, it no longer felt heavy. It felt peaceful. Because he was no longer running from himself. He was no longer hiding. He was no longer avoiding what he knew to be true. And in that honesty, there was comfort. A comfort deeper than anything he had felt before. Not because everything was easy. But because everything was real. He looked up at the sky, a quiet thought forming in his heart. This is what I was afraid of. A small, soft smile appeared. Because the thing he had feared the most, had not destroyed him. It had changed him. And maybe that was the point all along. Not the loss. Not the pain, but the transformation that followed it. And for the first time, he wasn't afraid of what came next. The answer didn't come the way he once imagined. There was no sudden sign, no voice, no moment where everything became clear all at once. Nothing dramatic appeared in front of him. Nothing announced itself as the answer he had been waiting for. It came quietly. So quietly, that at first, he almost missed it. Days turned into weeks, and something inside him continued to settle. The space he once feared no longer felt empty. It felt filled. Not with what he had lost, but with something he had never experienced before. A steady calm. A peace that didn't come and go. A clarity that didn't depend on anything outside of him. He walked through his days differently now. Not searching, not chasing, not trying to fill something that no longer felt broken. Because the emptiness he once feared was gone. In its place, there was presence. There was awareness. There was a quiet connection he couldn't fully explain, but he could feel it in everything. And one day, without planning it, without even thinking about it, he realized something. That thing he once thought he needed no longer had any hold on him. Not weakened. Not hidden. Gone. Completely. He stopped for a moment, standing still, letting that realization settle deep inside him. Because this was what he had been afraid of for so long. A slow breath left his chest. Not heavy this time. Light. Free. Because now he understood something he couldn't see before. Allah didn't just take something away from him. He replaced it. Not with another distraction. Not with something temporary. But with something real. Something lasting. Something better. He looked up at the sky, the same sky he had looked at on that night when he finally made the dua he had been afraid of. And now, it felt different. Closer. Present. As if it had always been there, watching him, guiding him, waiting for him to take that first step. "Oh Allah," his voice was calm now, steady, filled with something deeper than before. "I was afraid you would take it away." He paused, a soft smile forming. "But I didn't know. You would give me something greater." The words settled in his chest, because they were true. Completely true. He hadn't lost anything that truly mattered. He had been freed. Freed from something that once controlled him. Freed from something that clouded his heart. Freed from something that kept him distant. And in its place, he had been given something he couldn't have asked for properly before. Closeness. Not just in moments of need. Not just in dua. But in his everyday life. In his thoughts. In his silence. In his actions. And that closeness changed everything. He didn't feel the need to go back. He didn't feel the pull anymore. He didn't feel like something was missing. Because nothing was. Everything he thought he needed before had been replaced by something deeper, something stronger, something real. And slowly, a truth settled into his heart. The du'as we are most afraid to make are often the ones we need the most. Because they don't just change our situation. They change us. And change is never easy. It never feels comfortable in the beginning. But beyond that discomfort, there is something else. Something most people never reach. Freedom. He took a deep breath, feeling the calm settle deeper inside him. Not temporary. Not fragile. But rooted. As if it had always been there, waiting for him to remove what was covering it. And maybe that was the truth. He didn't gain something new. He uncovered something that had always been inside him. A heart capable of choosing Allah over everything else. Even when it was hard. Even when it hurt. Even when it felt like loss. And that was the real answer to his dua. Not just the removal. Not just the pain. But the transformation that followed. He smiled softly, looking ahead, not worried, not uncertain, just present. Because now, he knew something he would never forget. If Allah takes something away from you, it is never to leave you empty. It is to make room for something better. And sometimes, that something better is you.